Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit that notification bell, get all the updates. That's it for today's video. The beer's courtesy of Mark. Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate it. It's called Extra Extra, and it's by Masthead. Proper glassware, also courtesy of Mark, which, you know, everything tastes better in proper glassware. It's a New England-style double IPA, double dry hop with Nelson. 8% ABV. Hot off the press is Extra Extra, New England-style double IPA. This beer was double dry hop with some of our favorite hop varieties, this time including Nelson to push that flavor and aroma over the top. So it has other stuff in it, not just the Nelson, but it doesn't, I don't think it says, any of the other hops. And this is a little over a month at time of review, a little over a month old at time of review, to be more specific. And it's a collaboration with House of Helga. Let's get into it. I rolled the can a little bit, so hopefully I mixed up all the goodness. Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like a double hazy IPA, or hazy double IPA, to say that in the correct order. It's got that burnt orange color. There is some, yellow mixed in. I poured it, I thought, somewhat aggressively. Got about 2 fingers ahead. Off-white, little bit of yellow mixed in with the whiteness. Tiny bubbles, small bubbles, and then actually some medium-sized bubbles. Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks the part. Let's get to the aroma. For me, it's hitting big citrus. Okay. More is coming out. So in terms of that citrus, it's mostly orange. Think navel oranges. A little bit of the opening, the peel up, and releasing the essential oils that are in there. A little bit of juice itself. Kiss of lemon. So that's why I'm going to stick with citrus, not just specifically orange, but because there's 2 different kinds of citrus going. That lemon, and I talked about this in another review recently. I think it was one I did with the guys from Nerd Sense, where Nelson can kick out white wine, and sometimes I get lemon in white wine. So like the lemon thing could be just I associate white wine with a little bit of a lemon note. It could be a different hop that's making me think lemon, but something about this is definitely saying lemon, and there's a little bit of that white grape, white wine thing. Not much, but I'm also not surprised that it has Nelson in it. There's some tropical notes, a little pineapple that way. I get that mango and peach. Based on the amount of orange, mango, and peach, those seem to be, I know I've said this a lot lately, the trifecta of Citra is in the beer. So I'm going to guess this has Citra in it. But yeah, a little bit of pineapple for sure too. Then just a generic sweet tropical fruit thing. I actually like the aroma quite a bit. Let's see about the taste. Cheers. Thanks again, Mark. All right, so this is mostly working for me. The thing that's keeping it from completely working is there's a little. The missing piece is cohesion. This beer is full. Here's the thing that this beer does well that I wouldn't want to critique at all. I like the mouthfeel. It has a cool bitterness, astringency thing, which again is interesting because I said the same thing. I got the same thing out of another beer I had recently that had Nelson in it. So I'm wondering how much. Although that I contributed to the Simcoe that was in that beer. Maybe this beer also has Simcoe in it, but I'm getting the same thing where it's bitterness, but also when you say astringency, it skews very negative. I don't mean it in a particularly negative way. It just kind of breaks up the sweetness in a very, actually, in my opinion, a very lovely way. So I really like that. I do like the level of sweetness, and there are flavors that I like in this beer. A lot of flavors, actually, and I'll talk about them more in a moment. But that last thing I said is what's keeping me from loving the beer. Is it's the flavors, they're kind of like jumbled and they're not quite working together. And it's an interesting experience because I have had beers and beers that I've really liked where it's like, oh, there's a note of this thing I like and then a note of this that I like, and it's cool and it works. I'm going to go in for another sip and see, if I can figure out why this doesn't work. Or maybe after the second sip, it does start working more. I don't know. But also talking about some of the things I'm specifically tasting. So, I kind of wish I took a second sip before I said all that stuff. It's still true, but it is less true after the second sip. Maybe my palate just wasn't ready for it or whatever. You get that sweet orange, so I'm glad I said navel. You don't get maybe in the aftertaste a little bit, you get the more lemon and then the rind of, in the pith of oranges and lemons. That's more of the aftertaste. But in the actual sip, it's very sweet orange. You get a little of that pineapple. You get some, not a lot of that dankness, but you get a little bit that's helping with that astringency and that bitterness, again, to kind of like dry out the beer and balance that. Not even dry out the beer. There is moments of that too, but more bringing balance to the sweetness. The pineapple note, there's a little bit of that tropical thing. All right, so now it's basically the same on the palate. So whatever that initial sip was, I'm definitely, experiencing this beer in a consistent way at this point, which is a good thing. There's a little bit like a ghost of something from the past, like a ghost of greenness past or something like that, like where it's not particularly like green, grassy. This beer needs some time in the can to kind of die out. I think of like a fresh Trillium IPA typically. I like those with some age on it because there's like a greenness, a rawness to it, and this has like a little bit of that, but it's died, and you can tell, hey, I bet this used to have some of that. So I'm wondering, and there's a lot of behind the scenes, I'll just say it, a lot of behind the scenes in my head right now. If I'm remembering correctly, Mark said he did not like this beer very much and like warned me about it. So I'm also kind of wondering, based on when he sent this to me, or although maybe they brewed this beer many times. I don't know if this is the only time they've ever brewed this beer. They brew it a lot. I wonder if like maybe like that freshness, it was like too fresh and it needed like a Trillium beer sometime in the can. But like I initially said that first sip, it's still not quite the cohesive experience I want in this beer. Much better second, third, fourth, however many sips I'm up to now. Like, don't misunderstand me, but like was so apparent in that first sip, and it's still there. And you do these reviews and then you say something and then he said it and then he also said this other thing, so it must be at the same level. At this point, I'm like, it's like 90% cohesive or 95 maybe even. It's just not 100%. Like a lot of beer. I mean, how many hazy double IPA beers have I reviewed where I don't mention anything about it feeling like it's not a cohesive experience? I don't even know if it's 5, right? So like that is pretty telling that this is a beer that has that, but it's not, at least at this point, it's not deterring me. Yeah, I like that white winey thing a little bit, but it is like that lemon white wine thing. And you know what? Another, I'll wrap it up. But another positive of this is the more I'm drinking it, the more I'm liking it. So well done on that to Masthead. Yeah, and I'm curious. I'll obviously be talking to Mark about this beer. But Mark, if you want to put something in the comments about, maybe I'm completely wrong. I should have looked at the email before I did this review. But any thoughts you have about it, definitely put in the comment section below. Anyone else who has any thoughts about anything, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Thanks again, Mark, for sending it. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. I always appreciate that. Check them out on Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews about those places. So always please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.